You're not undisciplined, you're untrained. Stay with me. Because once you learn how discipline is actually built, your life stops restarting and starts rising. Discipline isn't a gift that some people get and others don't. It's not a rare gene. It's not a mystical personality type. Discipline is a trainable capacity. And the reason it feels like a superpower when you see it in others is because you're watching the results of years of training. The same way you can look at someone with a strong, athletic body and think they were just born like that. You can look at someone with a strong, athletic mind and think they're just built different. But bodies and minds don't get strong by wishful thinking. They get strong by repeated stress and recovery. Discipline is a muscle. It grows when you use it. It weakens when you don't. It hurts when you start. And it transforms you when you stay long enough to see the results. Let's strip away the illusions right now. Most people are not failing because they are lazy. They are failing because they think discipline is a personality trait that should already be there. They think if they were serious, they would automatically want to do the right thing. They think if they were built for success, they would never struggle, second-guess, procrastinate, or feel tired. That belief is poison because it turns normal resistance into a character judgment. You miss a day and you say, "See, I'm not disciplined." You slip once and you say, "I always mess stuff up." You don't realize you are doing the mental version of walking into a gym, not being able to lift 200 pounds on day one, and saying, "Guess I'm not meant to be strong." That's not how strength works. That's not how discipline works either. You build discipline the same way you build muscle. Gradually, consistently, and through resistance. You start with a weight you can lift, even if it feels too light, because the first goal is not to impress anyone. The first goal is to show up, to learn the movement, to teach your nervous system, your habits, your identity, that you are a person who trains. In the beginning, the habit is more important than the intensity. The showing up is more important than the performance. The repetition is more important than the perfection. Think about how muscle grows. When you lift something challenging, your muscle fibers tear slightly. Your body repairs them stronger. So the stress is necessary, but so is the recovery. If you never challenge the muscle, it stays the same. If you challenge it too hard, too soon, you injure it. Discipline is the same. If you never do difficult things, your discipline stays weak. If you try to change your entire life overnight, you injure your discipline with burnout. And then you label yourself as a quitter when really you were overtraining. Most people try to build discipline like this. They wake up fired up after a video, a book, a quote, or a burst of guilt. They promise to wake up at 5 a.m. Stop all sugar. Hit the gym every day. Meditate for an hour. Work 10 hours on their dream. And never waste time again. That's an emotional spike, not a plan. That's like someone who hasn't run in years signing up for a marathon tomorrow. The desire is real, but the strategy is wrong. And when they inevitably fail, they fall into a shame spiral. Shame kills discipline. Because shame convinces you that effort is useless. Shame whispers, "You always fail anyway." The truth is simpler. You didn't fail because you're broken. You failed because your starting weights were too heavy. If you want discipline to stick, start so small that your brain cannot reasonably complain. If you want to read every day, read 2 pages. If you want to work out, do 10 push-ups or a 5-minute walk. If you want to write, write 1 paragraph. If you want to study, open the book and do 10 minutes. People underestimate the power of tiny starts because they're addicted to dramatic change. But dramatic change is fragile. Tiny change is durable. Tiny change is how you build a base. And once you have a base, progression becomes natural. There's a principle in strength training called progressive overload. It means you gradually increase the stress on the muscle as it adapts. That's why someone who bench presses 100 pounds today might bench press 150 inches a few months. They didn't jump in one day. They climbed there through increments. Discipline is progressive overload for your life. You don't become disciplined by trying to be perfect. You become disciplined by raising your standards slowly, on purpose, after your current standard becomes your normal. So, start with one rule you can keep on your worst day. Not 10 rules. Not a new personality. One rule, one daily non-negotiable. It could be as small as, I walk for 10 minutes. I write for 5 minutes. I do a short prayer or meditation. I drink water before coffee. I clean one area of my room. Anything that is aligned with the person you want to become. Then you do it every day, especially on the days you don't feel like it, especially on the days your mind says, this is too small to matter. Discipline is built in the moments you would rather not do the thing. Motivation is loud and flashy, but motivation is a visitor. Discipline is a resident. Motivation shows up when conditions are perfect. Discipline shows up when they're not. Motivation says, I am ready. Discipline says, I am doing it anyway. Motivation depends on mood. Discipline depends on identity. And identity is the real engine here. You don't rise to the level of your goals. You fall to the level of your identity. If you think of yourself as someone who tries sometimes, then sometimes is what you will deliver. If you think of yourself as someone who always breaks promises, then breaking promises becomes easy because it fits the story. But if you begin to see yourself as someone who trains, someone who follows through, someone who respects their word, then discipline becomes a natural expression of who you are. The trick is that identity doesn't change by imagination. It changes by evidence. Evidence comes from actions. Actions come from small wins repeated until they're undeniable. Every time you keep a promise to yourself, you're casting a vote for your future identity. Every time you break a promise, you're casting a vote for your old identity. No single vote decides the election, but the votes you cast repeatedly will decide who you become. People don't turn their lives around in one heroic day. They turn their lives around through ordinary days stacked back to back. Now, you might ask, but what about willpower? Don't I need stronger willpower? Willpower helps, yes, but it's not the foundation. Willpower is like a battery. It runs down. It's affected by sleep, hunger, stress, hormones, emotions. Some days your battery is full. Some days it's empty. If you rely on willpower, your discipline will be inconsistent by design. Systems are stronger than willpower. Environment is stronger than willpower. Routine is stronger than willpower. Discipline isn't about fighting yourself all day. It's about setting up your life so that doing the right thing is the default. If you want to eat healthy, don't keep junk food within reach. If you want to read at night, keep a book on your pillow and your phone across the room. If you want to work out in the morning, lay your clothes out the night before. If you want to stop scrolling, delete the apps that pull you in. You don't get extra points for resisting temptation in hard conditions. You get results for doing the work. Make the work easier to start and the distractions harder to access. That's not weakness. That's warfare with strategy. A disciplined life is not a life of constant struggle. It's a life where you've reduced the number of daily battles, because every battle drains energy. If you can remove 10 battles by arranging your environment, you've freed your discipline muscle to focus on what matters. Another thing most people misunderstand: discipline is not a punishment. It is not self-hate. Discipline is self-respect in action. It's saying, I love myself enough to do what is good for me, even when it is uncomfortable. There's a version of discipline that comes from fear and harshness. It can work temporarily, like a drill sergeant yelling at you, but it burns people out. The sustainable version of discipline comes from care. It's like a coach who believes you can grow and refuses to let you settle. You need both compassion and firmness. Compassion without discipline becomes softness that excuses everything. Discipline without compassion becomes cruelty that breaks you. The strongest people have both. They can say, I understand you're tired, but we're still doing the work. They can say, I'm proud of you for trying. Now, let's do it again tomorrow. You have to learn to talk to yourself like someone you're responsible for, like someone you want to become better. Now, let's get real about the internal war you're going to feel. Discipline increases your freedom in the long run, but in the short run, it feels like restriction. Your brain likes comfort. Your brain likes easy dopamine. Your habits were built to conserve energy and chase pleasure. When you start training discipline, you are disrupting a system that your mind has spent years building. Of course, it resists. Resistance is not a sign you're doing the wrong thing. It's a sign you're doing something new. Your mind will bargain with you. It will negotiate. It will whisper, skip today, start tomorrow. Tomorrow is a beautiful lie because tomorrow always looks easier. Tomorrow has no fatigue, no anxiety, no distractions. Tomorrow is imaginary. Today is where the work is. The disciplined person is not someone who never hears the voice of tomorrow. They hear it. They smile at it. Then they still do today. There will be days when you don't feel like you have it in you. In those moments, remember the rule of minimums. You don't have to do your best every day. You have to do your minimum every day. Minimum keeps the habit alive. Minimum keeps the identity alive. Minimum is the training that says, even on my worst days, I show up. That is how discipline becomes stable. Most people fail because they think the only options are all in or nothing. They miss a day and they call it over. They eat one bad meal and they say they ruined everything. They stay up late once and decide they're back to zero. That's not how muscles work. One missed workout doesn't erase your progress. What erases progress is letting the missed workout become missed weeks. What erases progress is letting one slip become a story. So when you slip, and you will, don't dramatize it. Don't turn it into identity. Return quickly. The speed of your return is more important than the perfection of your streak. A disciplined person is not someone who never falls. A disciplined person is someone who refuses to stay down. Imagine your discipline muscle like a fire. When it's small, a little wind can blow it out. But if you protect it, feed it, and keep showing up, it becomes a strong flame. Then a little wind doesn't matter. In fact, the wind makes it stronger. The beginning is fragile. That's why you start small. You guard the habit. You don't throw a storm at a candle and get surprised when it goes out. Let's also talk about the difference between wanting and choosing. Everybody wants the results. Everybody wants the body, the money, the confidence, the respect, the peace, the success. But discipline lives in the choosing, not the wanting. There is a space between impulse and action. Most people live as if that space doesn't exist. They feel tired and they stop. They feel bored and they scroll. They feel hungry and they eat whatever is there. Discipline is the ability to widen that space, to pause, to see the impulse, to choose a response instead of obeying a reaction. You build that space the same way you build muscle, repetition. Every time you resist an impulse and do the right thing, you widen the space. Every time you obey the impulse, the space shrinks. This is why discipline feels hard at first. The space is tiny. It's like a weak muscle trembling under the bar, but it grows. A practical way to train this is to delay gratification in small ways. If you want a snack, wait 10 minutes. If you want to check your phone, finish one task first. If you want to skip your workout, tell yourself you can quit after 5 minutes. These delays are reps. They train your brain that you are in charge, not your cravings. Another critical piece, clarity. Discipline is hard when your goals are foggy. It's hard to show up for someday. It's hard to experience discomfort for a dream you can't describe. So get specific. What are you building? Why does it matter? How will you measure progress? What does winning today look like in simple actions? The clearer the target, the less mental energy you waste deciding. Decision fatigue kills discipline. Reduce decisions by planning in advance. Plan your workouts. Plan your study sessions. Plan your creative hours. Decide what you will do before the day starts, because in the moment, your brain will try to negotiate. When the plan is pre-made, the debate is already over. You don't ask if you should brush your teeth. You just do it because it's in the routine. That's where you want discipline to live. In routines so normal, you don't think about them. Let's not ignore the emotional side. Many people don't struggle with discipline because they're lazy. They struggle because they're stressed, overwhelmed, depressed, anxious, or carrying unresolved pain. In those states, comfort becomes survival. So discipline isn't just about pushing harder. Sometimes it's about healing. Sometimes it's about sleeping more, asking for help, simplifying your life, dealing with what you've been avoiding, because a tired mind will always choose easy. So take care of the basics. Sleep is discipline fuel. Nutrition is discipline fuel. Movement is discipline fuel. Calm is discipline fuel. If you consistently deprive your body and mind, your discipline muscle will feel like it's dying under the weight. If you support your body and mind, discipline feels lighter. Strong people aren't strong in spite of rest. They're strong because of it. But don't confuse rest with avoidance. Rest is intentional recovery. Avoidance is running from discomfort. Rest makes you stronger. Avoidance makes you weaker. Discipline includes both working hard and recovering well. If you train discipline every day without recovery, burnout will come. Burnout is not a moral failure. It's a biological response to prolonged stress without repair. Respect your limits. Build slowly. Progress is a marathon, not a sprint. Here's another truth. Disciplined people don't feel like doing the thing most of the time. They just do it. Feelings are unreliable data for action. If you wait for your feelings to agree, you will wait forever, because feelings change with the weather. Discipline means you act based on values, not moods. A simple mantra: I don't need to feel like it. I need to do it. That statement is not cold. It's liberating. It means you don't have to be a slave to your inner state. You can be tired and still take the step. You can be scared and still speak. You can be unmotivated and still practice. Freedom is acting without permission from your mood. Now, about confidence. People think confidence comes before discipline. They think they need to believe in themselves first. Actually, discipline creates confidence. Every time you keep your word, you become more trustworthy to yourself. Your self-trust grows. Self-trust is confidence. It's not hype. It's not loudness. It's quiet certainty built by evidence. I do what I say I'll do. That's why discipline feels so powerful. It's not just about reaching goals. It's about becoming someone you can rely on. And when you become someone you can rely on, everything changes. You stop living in the chaos of impulse. You stop bargaining with your future. You stop starting over every Monday. You begin to build momentum. Momentum is another secret. The hardest part of discipline is starting from zero. It's like pushing a heavy boulder. The first push is brutal. The second is still hard. But once it's rolling, your job is to keep it rolling. That's why showing up even in a small way matters. It's not the size of today's effort that changes your life. It's the fact that you didn't break the chain. So on hard days, aim for continuity, not intensity. Continuity is the real victory. Intensity comes and goes. Continuity builds identity. Let's talk about the enemy of continuity. Perfectionism. Perfectionism looks like high standards, but it's actually fear wearing a fancy mask. It says, if I can't do it perfectly, I won't do it at all. That sounds like ambition, but it's a trap. It keeps you stuck. Discipline is messy. Growth is clumsy. Your early reps will be ugly. That's normal. The goal is to be consistent, not flawless. If you watch a beginner in the gym, they don't lift elegantly. They wobble. They struggle, but they are training. Over time, their body learns. The same is true in your habits. Your early efforts might feel embarrassing. You might not get the results fast. That's fine. Keep lifting. Another enemy. Comparison. Comparison is looking at someone else's chapter 10 while you're in chapter 1. It makes you skip steps, and skipped steps create injuries. Your path is your path. Your weights are your weights. Your only job is to be better than you were yesterday. Now, let's go deeper into how discipline actually feels. Because people imagine discipline as a constant state of toughness. In reality, discipline often feels ordinary. It feels like boring repetition. It feels like doing the same thing again and again when no one is watching. That boredom is the price of mastery. The disciplined person embraces boredom because they're loyal to the bigger mission. If you can learn to fall in love with the process more than the outcome, discipline becomes much easier. The outcome is far away. The process is today. The process is the only place you can actually live. One way to love the process is to track it. You don't need complex systems. Just mark a calendar. Put a check when you do your habit. Don't break the chain. That visual proof is fuel. It's the discipline equivalent of seeing your muscles grow in the mirror. You see evidence. Evidence reinforces identity. Identity reinforces discipline. That is the loop. Let's talk about pain. Because discipline and pain are linked. There are two types of pain in life. The pain of discipline and the pain of regret. The pain of discipline is temporary. It's sore muscles, early mornings, saying no, focusing when you'd rather drift, pushing when you'd rather stop. The pain of regret is long, heavy, and bitter. It's looking back and knowing you didn't become who you could have been. You will choose one of these pains. Discipline is choosing your pain consciously. And here's a powerful reframe. The discomfort you feel while being disciplined is not a problem to solve. It's a signal that you are growing. If you only do what feels easy, you will never grow. Growth is uncomfortable by nature. A seed has to break to become a tree. A caterpillar has to dissolve to become a butterfly. You have to leave old comfort to enter new strength. So when discomfort hits, don't treat it as an emergency. Treat it as training. Tell yourself, this is where the muscle grows. That mindset changes everything. It turns resistance from a stop sign into a green light. It turns struggle into meaning. Now, maybe you've tried before and failed. Maybe you've started habits, set goals, made promises, and watched them collapse. That history can feel heavy. It can make you afraid to try again because you don't want to prove your own doubt right. Listen closely. Your past failures are not predictions, they are lessons. If you failed, it doesn't mean you can't do it. It means your strategy didn't fit your reality. Upgrade the strategy, not the self-belief. You don't need to be perfect, you need to be persistent. If you keep coming back, you will eventually win. That is not motivational fluff. That is math. Let's make this even more practical. Build discipline through a simple 3-step system. Reduce friction, create a cue, and reward consistency. Reduce friction means make the habit easier to start. If you want to work out, keep your shoes visible, not hidden. If you want to read, keep the book open on your desk. If you want to practice a skill, set up your tools before you need them. Starting is the hardest part. Reduce the cost of starting. Create a cue means tie the habit to something you already do. After brushing teeth, I meditate for 2 minutes. After morning coffee, I write 1 page. After work, I walk for 10 minutes. Your brain loves patterns. Use that love. Reward consistency means celebrate the act of showing up, not just the result. The reward can be as simple as checking the habit off or telling yourself, "That's what I do." Rewards reinforce the loop. Over time, the habit becomes automatic. That's the dream. Discipline that doesn't require constant force. Force is exhausting. Automatic habits are sustainable. Let's not ignore the social side. Your environment includes people. If you surround yourself with people who excuse weakness, you will absorb that permission. If you surround yourself with people who respect discipline, you will absorb that standard. You don't need everyone around you to be disciplined, but you need your inner circle to support your growth, not mock it. Protect your goals early. It's easier to plant a seed in private than to defend it in public before it's strong. And if you don't have disciplined people around you, become the example. Sometimes your discipline will inspire others. Sometimes it will make them uncomfortable. That's okay. Your life is yours. Their reaction is theirs. Now, there's a deeper layer to discipline that many people only discover later. Discipline is not just about doing hard things. It's about becoming a person of principle. A person who keeps their word. A person whose actions match their values. When you become disciplined, you stop living in fragments. You stop being one person in your dreams and another in your habits. You become aligned. That alignment creates peace. A disciplined person may work hard, but they also sleep well, because their conscience is clean. They know they are building what they said they would build. So discipline is not a cage. It is freedom. The undisciplined life feels free in the moment, but it's actually a prison of impulse. You wake up late not because you choose to, but because you couldn't control yourself at night. You waste time not because you want to, but because distraction controls you. You eat badly not because you love it, but because cravings lead you. That is not freedom. That is servitude. Discipline gives you choice. It gives you control. It gives you a future you decide, not a future you drift into. Now let me challenge you with this. You already have discipline. You just might be using it for the wrong things. If you can scroll for 2 hours, you have discipline. You're consistently doing something. If you can overthink for days, you have discipline. You're persistently applying mental energy. If you can show up for work every day, you have discipline. The issue is not that discipline is absent. The issue is that it's not directed. You can redirect it. That is good news. Start by noticing your patterns. Where are you already consistent? What triggers those behaviors? What rewards do they give you? Then use that knowledge to build new patterns. Discipline is less about force and more about design. Another powerful method is to define your why in a way that hits your heart. Not an abstract why, not a blurry future, a why that has emotion, a why that is personal, a why that makes you feel something when you think about it. Because discipline is easier when your suffering is connected to meaning. When you know why you're doing it, the hard days have context. So ask yourself, what kind of person do I want to become? What kind of life do I want to live? What pain am I tired of? What future am I refusing to accept? What people do I want to make proud? What promise to myself do I no longer want to break? Let that be your fuel. But let's also remember that fuel without structure is fire without a stove. It burns wild and then dies. Combine meaning with small systems. Now, about time. People say they don't have time for discipline. What they really mean is they haven't prioritized it. We all have the same 24 hours, but we don't all spend them the same. Discipline is about choosing. You don't find time. You make it. You make it by cutting what doesn't serve you. But you don't cut everything at once. You cut one thing at a time. Again, small weights, small wins, sustainable shifts. Let's talk about the moment of choice, because that's where discipline lives. Discipline lives in the micro moments. The moment you hit snooze or get up, the moment you reach for your phone or your book, the moment you eat the second serving or stop, the moment you keep working or drift away. Your life is made of these moments. If you want a different life, you need different moments. The way you change moments is by rehearsing your response. Rehearsal can be mental. Before sleep, visualize the next day. Visualize the hard moment and see yourself choosing right. That preloads your brain. Athletes do this. Performers do this. Disciplined people do this. They don't just hope for strength, they prepare for it. And when the moment arrives, you use a simple rule: act fast. The longer you wait, the more time your mind has to negotiate. If you think, I should work out, then count down. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Move. Stand up. Put on your shoes. Start. Action silences doubt. Momentum replaces debate. There's a stage in discipline training that feels like you're pushing a car uphill. You're doing the right things, but you don't see much change yet. That stage is where most people quit. They mistake the lack of visible results for lack of progress. But progress is happening inside first. Your identity is changing. Your nervous system is adapting. Your habits are forming. That part is invisible. Don't quit in the invisible stage. Every strong person walked through it. Stay long enough, and discipline becomes less about struggle and more about who you are. At first, discipline feels like something you do. Later, it feels like something you are. That shift is priceless. Now, I need to say this clearly. Discipline doesn't mean living like a robot. It doesn't mean never having fun. It doesn't mean being harsh or rigid. Discipline means you are in charge. Sometimes you rest because it supports your mission. Sometimes you say yes to joy because joy is part of a healthy life. The difference is that your choices are intentional. You're not being dragged by cravings or moods. You're steering. So build discipline with flexibility. A strong tree bends in the wind. A brittle tree snaps. Rigid discipline snaps under pressure. Flexible discipline adapts and continues. Here's a mental tool that helps. Separate planned breaks from impulsive breaks. Planned breaks are part of your system. They are recovery. Impulsive breaks are avoidance disguised as relief. Learn the difference. If you plan your rest, you protect your progress. If you rest impulsively, you erode your trust. Another tool, the never miss twice rule. You might miss once, life happens. You might get sick, travel, face a crisis, or just collapse emotionally. Missing once is normal. Missing twice is the start of a new habit. So, if you miss, the next day is non-negotiable. You show up, even if it's minimum. Never miss twice. Now let's talk about discipline and fear. Many people avoid discipline because deep down they are afraid of what it will reveal. If I try hard, what if I still fail? If I become disciplined, what if I outgrow my friends? If I succeed, what if people judge me? If I change, who will I be? That fear keeps people in comfort, disguised as not ready. Discipline requires courage because it moves you into uncertainty. So, expect fear. Use it as proof you're stepping into growth. Courage is not the absence of fear. It's action in the presence of fear. Discipline is courage repeated daily. Now, maybe you're thinking, okay, but how do I stay disciplined for years? The answer is seasons. Nobody can stay at peak intensity forever. Even in the gym, you have cycles. You push hard, then you deload. You focus on strength, then you focus on form. Life is the same. There will be seasons of high grind and seasons of maintenance. Discipline is not unchanging intensity. It is unchanging commitment. Even in maintenance seasons, you keep your minimums. You keep your identity alive. Then when the season shifts, you increase again. That's sustainable discipline. Also, remember that discipline creates options. The disciplined student creates career options. The disciplined athlete creates physical options. The disciplined creator creates creative options. Discipline is like saving money in a bank. It gives your future self power. When you're disciplined, your future self thanks you. When you're undisciplined, your future self pays the bill. You're either investing or borrowing. Every day. Let's bring this home with a bigger picture. Your life is not a single decision. It's a direction. Discipline is how you keep the direction. The world will distract you. Your emotions will distract you. People will distract you. Comfort will distract you. Discipline is the anchor that keeps you aligned with what matters. So don't ask, "Do I feel like doing it?" Ask, "Is this aligned with who I'm becoming?" If yes, you do it. That question turns discipline from a fight into a commitment to identity. And if you want to build discipline like a muscle, stop making it a mystery. Make it training. Train it daily. Train it small at first. Train it when you're tired. Train it when you're bored. Train it when it feels pointless. Train it until it becomes normal. Train it until your new normal is stronger than your old excuses. You are not behind. You are not broken. You are in training. You don't need to be a different person to start. You need to start to become a different person. So today, choose one rep, one small act, one promise you can keep. Do it. Tomorrow, do it again. The next day, again. Then add one more. Keep stacking, keep lifting, keep voting for your future, keep showing up. One day, you'll realize you don't need a speech to get going. You don't need a video. You don't need a burst of emotion. You just move. You do the thing. Because discipline isn't something you're trying to have anymore. It's the muscle you built. It's the identity you earned. It's who you are. And when storms come, and they will, your discipline muscle will be what keeps you standing. It will be your calm in chaos, your direction in doubt, your strength in fatigue. Not because you were born with it, but because you trained it. Those are the people who win long term. Not the most talented, not the most motivated, the most trained, the most consistent, the most willing to show up on ordinary days. The ones who understand that greatness is not an event, it's a habit. So build discipline like a muscle. Lift small, lift often, rest smart, increase slowly, fall and return quickly. Make the environment support you. Make your identity your guide. And never forget, every day is a training day. Every moment is a rep. Every rep is a vote. Every vote is your future. Thank you for watching. Please like, subscribe, and share. See you in the next video.